Work on instead of work in your business. To create a long-standing businesses, you have to work on instead of work in your business. Though these two terms differ in one word, they mean completely different mindsets of managing a business, and this will decide if your business can survive or it only has the fate of a short-lived shooting star. So in this video, I'll focus on the differences between working on your business and working in your business and explain why this is necessary if you want to progress further in the long run. So in essence, working on your business refers to anything strategic. For example, setting goals for your business, creating viable systems, automating processes and protecting your business's finances. Think planning and mind-boggling, then you'll get it. So meanwhile, working in your business involves everything that needs to be executed, like negotiating with suppliers, answering customer queries, dealing with invoices, for example, and all the cooling work. So to understand the impacts of applying these two different mindsets, let's see the below example. Imagine there are two farmers, alright, farmer A and farmer B, who works roughly about the same amount of land. However, because of the way they work, they end up with different profits. So farmer A is a hard-working guy who believes that he needs to do everything by himself. All day long, he rushes across his lands to make sure that everything is fine, everything's alright. And he'll be at his busiest when it comes to the harvesting period. So during that time, he couldn't even take breaks because he will be cutting the crops, picking out the bad crops, and then packaging the good ones to sell them at a marketplace all by himself. So farmer A doesn't think so much about introducing changes to his farming business, like planting different crops according to market needs or adjusting the prices he lists his products for when he sells them at a marketplace. This is because there's simply no energy for him to think. At the end of the day, he just wants to plonk down on his bed, right? Provided there's no big hiccups that year like floods, fire, earthquakes, for example. And farmer A gets a decent amount of income to sustain his living needs. But these funds are never enough to do anything else, such as investing in new machinery to help ease his workload. And year after year, he continued toiling away at his lands while praying that nothing disastrous will happen for that year. So his health suffered greatly and eventually he was unable to continue with his farming business. On the other hand, we have farmer B, who knows that he cannot manage the entire farming process by himself. So as such, he hires and trains people at a village to help him with different farming processes, such as the planting of crops, running an irrigation system, and monitoring his crops' development. And it's expensive, but he believes that it's worth the money he paid, because when come harvesting time, his helpers were able to proceed on with the various harvesting, selecting, and packing processes in an orderly manner. So all farmer B needs to do right now is to supervise the process, which is so much less tiring than if he has to do the work by himself alone. And farmer B can enjoy more rest and hence the energy to plan for his farming business. Using his free up time, he starts making investigations about the different types of crops that are most in demand and goes for cultivating those crops instead. He adjusted his products' pricing accordingly and was able to sell or rather earn more for selling off a similar amount of plantation products that farmer A sold. So with that extra income, he's able to invest in technology that can help him secure more harvests, such as protecting his crops against disasters. And this allowed him to draw a consistent income to sustain his business needs, even with bad times. As such, he was able to rest his mind about the future and his business grow year after year. So in the above story, farmer A is the typical example of working in his business, while farmer B exhibits on how to work on a business. Notice the difference between both of them. While farmer A works hard physically, farmer B works hard mentally. And that's all it takes for them to get different outcomes. And while we may not run a farming business ourselves, the same concepts apply for running an e-commerce business. So decide now if you want to be farmer A or farmer B. And if you are convinced, follow me as I continue showing you more tips about how you can become the farmer B in the e-commerce industry in the next video. Stay tuned, like this video and click subscribe. Cheers.